Can you pass me the lint roller?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Anime Intervention Yap Sesh. I'm your host, BNG, here with my co-host, Clean Bean, and here with our special guest today, Iris. Always on camera, being the producer of the show, but now you're here with us to talk about this anime, which we need to talk about immediately. If y'all aren't familiar, Crunchyroll decided to give Anime of the Year to Solo Leveling, and I severely, emphatically disagree with that.
Damn.
I
Be
mean,
starting off strong. Excuse me.
I just wanted to say that. I do disagree with that. But before we jump into opinions, I just wanted to say that Crunchyroll does have a very interesting way of doing its nominees. There is a period of time of eligibility that the nominees have. It's between October of the previous year up until December of the next year. So they basically have a year and quarter, which adds up to about 5 seasons of anime, right?
Yeah.
Point of the matter is, Solo Leveling won over what I think should be the Anime of the Year, Frieren. And I know that you guys might also agree with me on that one, and I wanted to hear your thought before I actually do speak my piece. Clean Bean, let's start with you. I usually start with Iris first, but I want to start with you this time because I have a lot to say. So let's start.
I do have a lot to say. I just want to start with the main reason why Solo Leveling won. It's because, one, genre. It's shonen. People always care towards shonen. They always like to put it in the spotlight. They want to grab at it. They want to make it like the center of the unit. There's no offense to any other shonens that are really good out there, but like, damn, we gotta realize what's on the other side. There are good mystery and romance and just a bunch of other topics that like are better than shonen animes. And it's like no shade to them, but like you gotta deviate from that.
So you're saying that because it's shonen, it definitely took the cake.
It definitely took the cake. Look at how many young people are like in there, like they want something that's quick, fast-paced, action-based, and has good animation, good quality, and shoot, I mean the ore farming at this point too. Like what sucks is that the ore farming isn't even in there. It's just the season 1. It's not even season 2.
That is true. That's what I wanted to bring up.
So I'm just confused as to like why season 1 is somehow better than Frieren. That doesn't make sense. And like we're talking like in all aspects, totality, character development, world building, the setting, the plot. I don't think it's in any way, shape, or form better than Frieren in that, like in any of those scenarios.
No.
Yeah.
Iris, let me hear your thoughts.
Clean Bean already covered quite a bit of it. So if it's only based off the first season, that definitely doesn't make sense. While I really like Sung Jin-woo's character and really like Solo Leveling, it doesn't hit the same way that Frieren hits. The entire story of Frieren is literally about coming to terms with grief and like being able to process emotions and understanding people better, which I think for a lot of people is a lot easier to relate to. And also, in the background of anything that's going on in Frieren, there's always more to the story if you're really looking at the backgrounds. There's a scene, for example, where they're talking like in a town that they like just got to or whatever. It's like nighttime, and there's like 2 people who are realizing that they like are in love with each other or whatever, and they're having like a conversation with a friend at the table. There's like stuff like that. At the end of the day, I thoroughly enjoy Solo Leveling. But if we're going purely based off like world building, Frieren just does a fantastic job of the world building, whereas Solo Leveling has a very interesting world, but there isn't really a whole lot of world building necessarily going on. Frieren, a lot of what draws people to it is the world building and the characters and the deeper parts of the anime. Like you're watching Frieren not for like the crazy fights, like even though there's good fights in Frieren, whereas Solo Leveling, part of why you had people upset when Sung Jin-woo started crying after he like saved his mom or whatever is because of the fact that there's a lot of people who are just watching Solo Leveling for fights. And it doesn't really make sense to me why Solo Leveling won instead. I think also like there was somewhere else where Frieren won anyway.
Yeah, there's a couple places that did get Frieren voted.
Yeah, that's true.
The scene with Sung Jin-woo's mom, I think maybe made me cry or almost did.
I think it did.
But like episode 3 of like 28 episodes that are out of Frieren right now, I was sobbing at the Blue Moon Weed like scene with that whole like flashback and everything. Because like once you understand the deeper meaning of what's going on and the fact that Frieren's almost coming to terms with being in love with Himmel, it's like and that's just from episode 3. Like I definitely cried a number of times watching Frieren, but I think that's part of what like makes it such a beautiful anime. A lot of people can watch Frieren if you're not all about shonen, right? You can watch Frieren and still have a good time. It's not like we have 5 minutes until Namek explodes. 30 episodes later, we have 1 minute until Namek explodes. You know, like it's a 28 episode series.
Yeah.
That, or at least that's what's out right now. And each one of those episodes hits really hard and like focuses on the characters and really like develops them.
No, that's good.
No, that's a good point. I'm with that. Now, I guess my point in the matter would be, if season 2 for Solo Leveling came out at a later time period, Solo Leveling would not have won. And I don't know if you agree with me here, but I think that the recency bias of Solo Leveling season 2 and how good it was sort of kind of propelled it into the forefront in the voting sphere. Okay, and you already mentioned this about Solo Leveling. The character of Sung Jin-woo, he definitely aura farms in the second season more, without a doubt.
Even just when he was fighting in the blizzard, like the red gate,
but
the ice red gate, when he just like walked out
he's walking out he's aura farming. The whole second season
he
was
studied at the Piccolo School of Aura Farming and graduated with flying colors.
Flying colors, bro. Got an SS. He didn't get an A+. He got an S because he's an S rank content, bro. But it's boggling to me because I believe that Frieren does more for the anime space than Solo Leveling does. Solo Leveling is on its own sort of kind of repeating in a way what we've seen in a lot of different anime. Okay, we've seen this with other shonen, we've seen this with other shows.
I'm listening. I'm just making sure my camera is actually focused on my face. Hi. There we go. Cool.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've seen this in other shows, and Frieren to me was the not first anime, one of the best anime that come out in the most recent years that have tied together all these different elements as well as putting a focus on fantasy. Because I think fantasy anime deserve to be in the spotlight.
100%.
That's why I think Frieren should have won. Don't get me wrong, I love Solo Leveling to the death, but Frieren to me right now it bumped up to probably my top 5 anime of the past few years. Yeah, obviously Frieren's not done, but just what I've seen so far, I know that the storytelling, what it's capable of, I already know it's going to be a really good show.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like one of the cosplays I'm thinking about doing for Anime NYC, catch us there again in 2025. That's in a few months. Wow. Is one from Frieren. I just didn't want to do Frieren because like everybody did Frieren last year. But I think that also just says a lot about how impactful it was because of the fact that it won all these awards and you're not watching Frieren for the fights. Besides towards the end, I guess.
I mean, I was into the fights, don't get me wrong.
I was into the fights too, but it's you don't really even see a whole lot of fighting like that until the very end. And even then it's there's still a lot of story built around the fighting. I think it also does a really good job for helping people get into fantasy anime because of the fact that if you try to give someone slime, for example, it's oh, you should watch this anime called That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. It's what the fuck are you talking? Yeah, it's if you're not really super into anime, you're not gonna watch it. If you're I want to show you this beautiful story called Frieren Beyond Journey's End, here's the first episode. That first episode alone already sets the tone. Himmel dying and everything, her crying, the whole funeral sequence, and just it makes me think a lot about the whole scene in Invincible with Mark and his dad in the first season where he was beating the out of him and he's just what will you have after 500 years? When he asked him what will you have after 500 years, and then Mark was I'd still have you.
Yeah.
Frieren doesn't really have anybody like that, and is only really now starting to understand human emotions and realize that she experiences them too. And I think that is a lot of what makes the story enticing.
No, I agree with you 100%. You have any final thoughts, Clean Bean?
No, pretty much everyone has the same exact views as I do. I do think Frieren is the better anime, even better than the second season of Solo Leveling, in my opinion. It touches base with a lot of different themes and life lessons that we have learned, especially realizing how much time we have with a person, building those connections in life. We start to realize there's not much time left on this earth for all of us, but if we can definitely form connections with each other and stay with each other, stay in touch and hold the memories that are dear to us, we live a fulfilled life.
There's also scientific studies that prove that older people who maintain their mental capabilities and physical capabilities, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that a big part of that is having meaningful interpersonal connections. I also just gotta throw in there, as much as Himmel is full of himself, the way he cares for Frieren is so genuine and hurts. He literally wanted to make sure that a restaurant that they went to was to keep the recipe the same because she loved the food there even after he died.
Yeah.
So that she could keep going back even when she's 1,000 years old to still get that same food.
Genuine care like that somebody like Frieren's not gonna understand and not gonna know until she sees it. And later down the line, she starts to understand it and she's okay, I see now.
And I think that's part of the tragedy of Frieren too, that she's only now realizing all these years after he's died how much she cared for him too.
That's our opinion here, listening. If you got anything you want to say, let us know in the comments. But I'll be real with you here. You're going to have to do a lot of justification if you want soul leveling over Frieren. If you're just in it for the hands, then I guess that's your reasoning. That's really it. I'm not trying to say that soul leveling doesn't have any emotion, but that's just how it is, man. Just how it is. But yeah. Thanks, Queen Bean. Thanks, Iris. Thanks for showing up.
Thank you.
And this has been Yap Sesh.
We
out.
better than that. Come on now.
Oh, come on. No.
Mm.
That's good. I like that. All right, y'all. That's good. All right, y'all. Deuces.